Thank you everyone for coming. Okay. Immediately lost me. You know who I am, or I will tell you who I am. My name is Moritz Horn, and I'm working for the Common Library Network in Germany, which is a network comprised of about 200 libraries, and we're joined the Folio and OLF community quite a while back, and my involvement in OLF is mainly based on the GOKb project, which I'm the technical lead for since we took over the project from our partners in our partners in NCSU, who were developing or leading the development before then. So what I think I do is I give the update for the changes we implemented over the last year. I would very much like to hear general feedback after that concerning if you have any experience using APIs of GOKb, for example, or hopefully we'll hear some question about or your questions about possible usage of GOKb either for API purposes or maybe contributing to GOKb. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of faces I haven't seen before. So if you need a general intro to GOKb, I will do that at the end. Maybe I'll find some. I do a little bit of overview for you. So one thing we were working on, which has been a problem since, or which has been a desirable improvement since we switched to our single page application UI, which definitely has improved usability or the ability or the ease of use for our users. Were some issues concerning discoverability or using or linking others to what you're working on right now. What we've done in the last year was we try to improve things like the way to have search filters, for example, or we have some tab views in our application. So we want to have those directly in the URL parameters, so the query parameters, so you can also easily navigate to each specific search filter configuration you have. Another thing that we started out with for the single page application was there were some some views we, for example, the package title view, which was only possible to view in the in a popover state, and the problem was you basically weren't able to send the link for this view to other people, which made it a bit hard to to work together or show off your work. I think I may be able to show you. Let's see what I mean. Just it's very all right. So one issue we had, I can maybe show you to see what I mean. One issue where we had was a problem where the only way to see some information in GOKb in the GOKb UI was in these popovers, and the problem was you can't send a link to this specific item, and we added this dedicated view, which we had for some time for the package titles, but we figured out it was also very important for our big workflow component, which are the review requests for review. So these started out as well because there were very complex workflow views. We had them also as this full page popover, but that's we added this static view as well. Okay, I have to find this there. And what I mentioned earlier, this issue we had, we wanted to improve the shareability of, for example, specific search configurations, which we added as well. So we parameterized everything. Also, in which tab of the detailed package view you're currently in, which was like a big quality of life thing as well. I showed you this. Then another thing that we had some requirements for, which is obviously we had there was a requirement for people to improve discoverability or working with specific parts of our resource content, but since we're using kbot data as the base of our whole knowledge base, kbot data does not really have a lot of like additional discoverability information to work with the resources themselves. So what we did initially, or what we did in the last year, was we added the possibility to link DDC notations to basically all types of components or items we're holding. So you can link the resources themselves, so journals, ebooks, and so on. But you can also link the whole packages, for example. So you could mark a single package with a DDC classification, so you can more easily find it later. And obviously, what this also meant was in the search functionality for this for these links. We're currently only using the top level DDC notations because of licensing requirements, obviously. But you can search for notation as well as the German or and English labels, depending on which language you're using right now. Another thing that's only partially visible to users is we did a lot of work in our user management. So for the users themselves, they only really see a change in the ability to initially on their registration select their group or their institution they're working on, which beforehand required like contacting us, and we were setting up every user and connecting them to their institution, and we're working on automating a lot of that. So we don't have to manually send emails as much. And the big change that's not visible to users themselves is we also automated a lot of this this process on user registration for admins as well. So we automated the process of informing us there's a new user and what we have to do to get them up and running. There was also some stuff we had to postpone when we switched to from our own old user interface to the new UI. One of those things were this forgot password link, which we have to use still the old system for. So embedding this was a bit fiddly, but we managed it. And Okay. Yeah, and I think the continuing in changes that users shouldn't be or aren't even aware of is we did a big technology upgrade. So we're using for single page application, we're using Vue as our JavaScript framework, and there was a big change a while back, and we were still using the old version, and finally we managed to migrate, and it's like for some upgrades or migrations, version migrations, if you're lucky, it's basically out of the box. But for this upgrade, it wasn't. So I think it took like half a year maybe to have everything working. Obviously, that's always something that's a bit sad to basically have a lot of work to the users, not so that the users don't recognize or see the change that you made. But there were a lot of lessons learned. I think it was a great opportunity to clean up old code, and a few functionalities that weren't possible before will be available for us. So once we're done with this upgrade, I think the things we can do going forward will be positively impacted for sure. In general, I've summarized it as such. There was a lot of smaller things that you have to do, had to do a lot of repetitive things that were like easy ports. We had to do some workarounds, which were, some of them were quite annoying. And we'll see, I hope we'll see a lot of improvements based on this migration in the next year or in the coming years. So there were some API changes, but in general we were pretty stable. We had some additions for reducing the need to have interlinking requests. So one issue we had reported was that if you're retrieving title level information and in a package-based context, there was an issue which we had in the OpenSearch API, which was that we separated title or package level title information and global title level information quite strictly, but we came to the conclusion that it's much better, or it's worth the effort to index everything into the package title record. Oh. Okay. Fine. Um, okay. Okay. All right. Gut, should be right. Um, all right. Um, and obviously, since we introduced the aforementioned subject, starting with DDC, but we build it in ways that we can expand it beyond DDC quite easily. Obviously, those have to be in our API as well. So you will be able to search or filter titles and packages going forward based on DDC notation. This basically concludes my review of changes we did in the last year. But I hope we have some questions, maybe some things you want me to show you in the UI, some questions or comments, API or UI related. Is there interest in showing a bit more of the UI? Yeah. So I just do a quick intro. Maybe those that will this will be good to yeah. Oops. So I talked a bit about changes we did to the new UI, and I maybe start to give you a bit of an overview over the UI itself. So what we did when we took over GOKb was there was a UI with a lot of buttons and a lot of different small detailed categories, which we cleaned up a lot. So what we have right now is basically we have on the main view we have four different components which you will be able to work with in the UI. First, which is obviously the big overarching idea that we're working with in GOKb are the packages, which we collect via kbart files from vendors and other sources that provide them. And we're trying to reference the contents of those packages against each other and just clean up and clean up the messy data that is by default probably to be expected when you are working with data from a lot of different sources. So these kbart files basically these kbart files come in, and what we're doing is we create a metadata record for the package concept basically, and we'll record all updates to this kbart file in this overarching kbart record. So what we do have over time is a history of the package that we recorded since it was first imported. What we do with this data, with this kbart data, is we're creating the so-called package titles. So there's a lot of information in kbart which is only really relevant to, or it's specifically relevant to this package context. And what we're doing in addition to that is that we're extracting the global title information, mainly ISSNs or ISBNs, as well as the title and some maybe some publishing dates, and we are referencing them again, firstly against other package title information, but also externally against, for journals, for example, against the national serial database in Germany. So we have another source of reference to check if this information that's contained in the specific kbart file is likely correct, or if there are any issues. So if we have conflicting information coming from different sources, we obviously like to have an idea of which would be the most likely correct information. And therefore, we're from these package context-based items or kbart lines, we are generating a reference title which represents the global truth, basically of the title. And this is maybe the best example, but you may have a lot of package titles connected to a single reference title, and it's very easy to get an overview for the occurrence of a single journal or ebook, in which kind of packages those are present.
All right. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
For the ebook reference titles, do you just rely on having a matching identifier in the incoming kbart file, or do you to know if it's the same as an existing reference title, will you do any matching on title and edition data publication as well?
We're using basically for separating the package titles or matching the package titles, we're using all identifiers. For this global reference item, we're doing ISBN, and we're checking also against so the DOI.
Yeah.
And the name as well.
The title of the...
Yeah, the title as well. But that's something that is probably a good intro into our big cleanup workflow system, our reviews. So there's a lot of data that we can reasonably identify the most likely or best matches for incoming data. But what we're doing is, since we have each package that is recorded in GOKb has its own curator, who is responsible for the curation of the package. And if in the data that's coming in from a specific KBAT file in a specific package, if there are any identifier conflicts we're recognizing that we are not sure how to or aren't confident we can solve automatically, then we raise these requests for review. So librarians working in GOKb can always see their reviews that were generated based on the packages that they're curating. And a lot of those issues concerning IDs, for example, this whole thing we have with ebooks mainly, it's like discrepancies we're identifying between by looking at the DOIs and ISBNs. And if we recognize that there's a conflict, we will raise this review to the curator, and they will solve it.
And is there an opposite process if you thought that if two different reference titles have been created, but someone thinks they ought to be a single reference title?
Yes. So yeah. So what we do have, I think I probably can show you. We have these categories. I think it's a bit hard to find a good example, maybe. But when we redesigned this this workflow view for the review request for review, we basically added a very, I think, a very much simpler way of merging titles. So you will be able to select, yeah, be easily able to configure like a merged title reference. Yeah. So you would also do this via these requests for review.
I have another question.
Sure.
I don't want to take, maybe I'll leave it and see, you introduce something else you want. And then
You don't have much competition right now, so just go ahead.
So my interest is that we're harvesting the GOKb data into Folio. And so the users of the Folio system who maybe not otherwise using GOKb only experience the data in that context. We've been working, it used to be that we did our own title merging as well on top of like the GOKb data, and we've moved now to trying to be more accurate in reflecting. So we use, instead of using ISBNs and ISBNs for the IDs, we use the GOKb UUIDs for the reference titles, so it's the same title. So we're letting you do all of that work, which you're already doing, is obviously set up to do. But users of Folio might notice, oh, I think there's a problem here, or this is a duplicate, or this is this should be merged. Is there any mechanism at the moment where we could send back via an API, like reports from people to say we think this is wrong, or expose maybe that there's already a content review flagged for this title, or?
So the issue would be, I think, having these requests made. You would need to do them basically anonymously, right?
Well, I guess I mean, I don't know. I mean, we would have it would come from a specific library. It wouldn't necessarily have to be anonymous, but I guess they wouldn't necessarily have a GOKb.
Yeah. So
yeah. So from GOKb's perspective, they could be anonymous. Or we could insist that you have to log in to go, have a GOKb account to make the report. But it would be, I guess it would be
that would be easy. so if you yeah.
I mean, I should say we don't have any immediate plans for this, but I'm thinking when librarians notice there's something wrong, they want to have a way of getting it fixed. And if they're not using GOKb and they're using Folio, they probably aren't going to go to GOKb to try. And of course, they might not be the right person. They might not be doing the curation to fix it, but they should. But it would be nice if we could expose the fact that maybe this is all right, so they know something's in process, or they can report. I think there's something wrong here, and get some feedback on that without necessarily logging into GOKb to do it. It's an idea, not a.
I think that would be very very good. I think we would definitely look into that.
Yes, absolutely.
I like it.
It would actually benefit the data origin GOKb. And there's the possibility to open review requests manually. It's allowed in the GOKb, but you have to be logged in. But I think Christine is right in your idea here. But I think this could actually be open, and maybe as communication between the interface and the backend is also done via API. So once it is correctly, that we could give you an API with it we simply to open this.
Yeah, I think there's some things we would have to figure out. So I think we would have to make sure to separate those types of requests out from automated requests that we had that were generated based on on imports directly. But yeah, I think that would be something that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think the UI you're showing for the reviews looks really nice. So there's degrees which I think we probably be able to rebuild that somewhere else, but it would be interesting to look at the possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we would have to figure out is how configurable you would want it to be. Like, if there's, for example, a lot of reviews we're generating right now are, for example, we identified possible duplicates, and it's important, obviously, to not only say this is maybe a duplicate, but what we're providing in our review views is be able to directly link to the other part of which other title is duplicated by this title. And obviously you can imagine doing it even more complicated stuff, like flagging a single identifier, and then you have to send the identifier of the list of identifiers which you want to correct or which has to be removed or something. So that's something we would have to figure out how detailed we want this to be.
Hi, I'm Deanna from GIS. I currently encounter a knowledge base, right? Maybe it works. It's in its beta phase right now. This does a lot of it. I feel a bit insane right now. But partly the idea of this system is the basis to then be able to do article level metadata. So there's a crazy one, right? Like, apologies, I understand what this thing, but we have packages, right? We have pages, and we want to do the article level, which the size of this.
Respect.
We're nowhere near. We're honing in on that. We've not done anything. So we does GOKb have any capabilities to present aggregate article level metadata?
We are currently excluded article, or we are currently not doing anything with article level. So we do have obviously the coverage, which is we can get from the KBOT files. So we record the coverage dates, but we don't have any article level right now.
We won't rule it out what you do because we are all waiting for KBOT 3, and there is one topic in KBOT 3 which is article information. So we don't know yet how deep it will go, but as GOKb relies on KBOT data, if it's released, we'll see how far we can implement it. So we won't rule it out for the future.
So just an addition, is there any tooling within the community and platforms that brings together code GOKb API and article level metadata?
I don't know.
No worries.
So not right now, I think.
There's still an area that needs to be solved.
Yes.
I might say.
Any other questions? Ideas? If not, then I'd like to thank everyone for attending. And I hope you all have a great WOLFcon this year and all the years to come.